to handle all the crap I've got to hang off of me all the time now. Doesn't work with maternity pants, guys. Like, it just doesn't.
The default microphone, there it goes. Okay. So here's the link. If you all could test our sound.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Can you hear me on the live stream?
I haven't opened the hall.
I'm still getting the other things set up. I feel like I'm going to create this infinite loop if I do this. Yep.
Can hear you.
Can you hear you guys?
Yes.
Guys?
Yes. I'll give him credit.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday the 30th. Sorry about the preview screen. I didn't have the right date on there, but I think today's meme that Jake got kind of fits that. Jake, where did you say that came from?
Came from Steve Dry, principal of Mint Hill Middle School. He sends out some great ones, just morning inspirations. And this one feels about right with everything that's been going on. We feel like we've been sprinting for over a year now with everything going on. So yeah, it's easy to be distracted and scattered.
Yeah. So we have a very simple saying, like we have the mug from the movie Up with the dog who goes squirrel. And we'll take the kids on a walk around the block and they'll do something and we'll just like squirrel. And then the one day that was the best is they actually said squirrel because they were watching one run across them. So it was very appropriate. So good morning, everyone. It's March 30th, the end of March already. Getting ready for April and spring break next week, which just does not seem possible. My name is Justin Keenum, joined by Jake Standish, Amy Slack, and Sagan and his cactus are lurking in the background today, as are the pups, who apparently he is laying on the other dog. Tough life they got there. So, a couple of things on the agenda. The first thing is our reminders, as always. Canvas.cms learns, please direct all stakeholders there for curated information, usually from the Canvas guides, on interacting, troubleshooting, and any information that you need for Canvas for us. We are adding a new one today, actually, which we're going to discuss here in a little bit to help with an issue that we're seeing. If you are in this course, please feel free to sign up for the admin consultations, which can be found here on the left side of the course. Click admin consultations. Jake and I get an email. We'll reply back pretty quickly and set up a time to meet one-on-one. So that is still open. bit.ly/CMS Google account. Those are Amy's instructions for avoiding account conflict. Again, we always remember separate them out into separate accounts so that you don't have conflict on knowing where things are going And then
we're seeing students with this issue, right?
Yes, we're seeing students with that issue, and then we're also seeing them with, and if you remind me, I'll show it again, the account resolution and what's in Canvas. So I can show you that one if you remind me, Jake. If you've got questions, please submit them to j.mp/ITPD office hours. That form's open 24/7. We do keep an eye on it, and it does help guide us in creating our next meetings. And we will not have a meeting next week, correct?
Correct.
No meeting next week. Submitting Sharewell tickets. We're starting to see a lot more that have links. So good job on getting your people to provide that information. So links, IDs, teacher email addresses, all of this helps us greatly. If you're in the Canvas challenge and Google Drive challenge, please note we're getting near the end of the year, May 14th, right, Amy? So May 14th is coming fast. We'll be pushing out credit. Actually, I'll probably do that in the next day or two, is push out credit for the month of March. We do it once a month, but know that deadline is coming. Amy, how are we doing on the inbox? Because we've sent out some more messages.
Yeah, we were updated. I'm seeing some people who just need to remember you can check your grades page. You don't actually need to confirm with us when you have completed the course. You can actually, on the left-hand side, click on grades and confirm you've done the 3 course requirements, which are the only 3 things listed on that page, which is the intro quiz, the scenarios, and the reflection survey. If you have people who are not seeing it in My Talent, please ask them to check that they have done all 3 things. We only pass credit for people who have completed all 3 requirements. So that's something to keep in mind.
And we'll keep reminding you each week because we're getting near the deadline and we want to make sure everybody gets everything done and we don't want to be stressing at the end. So thank you, Amy. PowerSchool changes can take 24 to 72 hours, so patience is a virtue here.
And bear in mind, we are starting to see changes in schedules yet again, and students in the wrong sections, so it will cause issues for like grade passback. But it takes 24 to 72 hours for Canvas and PowerSchool to get in alignment. So those errors will keep showing.
And I know we had a ticket yesterday where students were moved, and I looked at the dates in PowerSchool, and I did not reply to the ticket because I wanted to see if it resolved today, just to give that time.
Yeah.
So just be aware. And then the last thing is the digital learning consultations with Trish and Aubrey. I know I believe they still got those set up, but those links are there for you as well. So, our first update is related to last week. Is we provided a link, status.instructure.com. So, what day was that? Was that Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday? We had a fun morning where Canvas was down. And the first place that we go to is status.instructure.com. And what they do is they're going to show up here if all systems are operational. We saw last week where Canvas was having an issue, and they will kind of give you a rundown of the things that might be having trouble. And then as incidents pass, they will give some details as to what was going on and the messages that were sent out. So, Jake, is there anything you want to add to this?
It's just that this is really useful to know, hey, is this CMS Canvas or is this Canvas globally? And the issue last week was a global Canvas issue. So we had a lot of people reaching out to us, which is fine, but you can go straight to status.instructure.com. And if you see there's an issue reported here, it is out of our hands. There's nothing we can do about it. We're well aware, but we're doing the same thing you're doing, which is waiting for Canvas to fix it. This is rarely happens. I think we had one other incident like this last spring.
Yeah.
Where we were out, like we just couldn't use Canvas for over an hour. So the uptime is still well above 99%. Even when something like that happens, it's just that it happens. There are days when your car just won't start. You know, it's that kind of thing. Not often, but sometimes it happens. Same kind of deal here. And there has rarely been any situation where it was just CMS Canvas. So when things aren't working the way you expect them to, the best place to start is that status.instructure.com. And then, of course, you can reach out to us and we'll tell you what we know. But that's definitely the most common issue.
And we saw at least one or two tickets related to it. And once we saw that Instructure had cleared things up, we went ahead and closed them out with the details that we got. But if you're someone like Amy who's trying to support a school, I'm sure Amy will tell you that her email and everything just blew up for her because people were wondering what's going on. I know my kids' teachers were even reaching out to me. So it's a place that you can have official information from Canvas, and you can provide that link to people too so they can see it to help, get through the storm.
And you and your teachers probably got the email with us saying, hey, we know there's an issue, Canvas is working on it. And then we sent out another one saying it's been rectified. Well, if we hear anything more, we'll update again. And it's been clear since. So, we do everything we can to try to communicate, but there will be a lag there where you're not sure what's going on. And the best place to start is that status.instructure.com to see it. That's where you're going to hear it first. That's where we go to hear it first.
And Jake, you touched upon something there. There are going to be times when we have a little bit of a lag in communicating because we need to watch and see things. And we also don't want to create a panic or get people up in arms. We got to see as well.
By the time we send out the communication, it might fix itself, right? So we waited a little bit, I think about half an hour before sending out that communication to instructional staff for that reason, because it might fix itself before that we even got to it. We don't want people to say, oh, it's down when we send it out, but it just came up. So it's better to wait a little bit and say we are aware of the problem and Canvas is working as fast as they can. We're just waiting for details. Sometimes we wait about half an hour before sending any information out because a lot of times things fix themselves before then.
So our next item on the agenda is, spring break goes, wait a minute, we're getting towards the end of the year, and it got Jake and I thinking, and Jake put together some slides on what happens to the courses at the end of the year. And since so many more people are using them, we wanted to get that information out to you. So Jake, I'll click and you tell me.
So this is good information for everyone to have, to be aware of. I rearranged those slides.
You linked it to the other one.
Oh, that's why. I was like, wait a minute.
I was confused too.
So first off, at the end of the school year, this year's courses, the 2020-21 school year courses, will go into a concluded state. Now that concluded state will vary by the user. Students will see the course in a concluded state before the teachers do, because the teachers need to continue to work in the course, update grades, whatever they want to do. They get some extra time. We'll talk about the time in a moment, but first, let's explain. A concluded state means that all users in the course will have view-only access. All right, that's the important thing to note. You can still access courses from a previous school year. In fact, any teacher that had used Canvas in previous school years still has access to those courses. If they didn't publish those courses and never interacted with students in those courses, they were deleted. This school year, just about every single course is active and being used. They will not be deleted. They will be concluded, which means teachers will be able to see the entire course. Students will even be able to see the course. They can see their assignments, see what they submitted. Teachers can see all of that as well. They cannot edit. Students cannot resubmit. Teachers cannot modify any of the course after it goes into a concluded state for them. Let's see.
Jake, that makes me, you said, how do I view a concluded course, which you put a link for, and I pulled up my courses in Canvas. So I went to all courses, and here's the active courses. Got a bunch of them. And then down here is past enrollments.
Exactly. Yeah, so past enrollments are your concluded enrollments, and that's the read-only state. So you can see them, but you cannot interact with them. Now, teachers can access the course in order to make copies. So you could pull content out of a previous year's courses into a new course. That is always an option there. So that's kind of the point of those. But yeah, so directions how to view your concluded enrollments and viewing grades for concluded enrollments. So your students might want to check their grades after the course is ended. There's directions there and how to do that.
And Jake, I'm going to add both of these to Canvas.CMS Learns.
For sure. All right, so course end dates. This school year ends on May 28th. So the students will conclude at midnight, right at the end of May 28th. All right, so that's their last day. They will be concluded then. Teachers will still have access to the course until June 4th. So that's the following Friday. So giving you an extra week to work in the course. I think our last work day is by then too. So like the intent is try to be in line with that. So by the time this school year ends, we need to kind of set everything into a concluded state so that we can reset and get ready for the next event. So yeah, so that's it. So just a reminder, they will be able to interact with the course. They will only be able to view. Right. Also, because we are going to be bumping them right up onto the summer school program, then this school year, it's a significant number of locations that are being used for summer school, like most, that we are going to be moving the courses out of your school's sub-account, and they will go into an archive sub-account. What that means is, as an administrator in Canvas, right now, you can go in and see the courses that teachers are teaching and see the student interactions and all of that. Once we move the courses into an archive sub-account, which we need to do before we start summer school, so it'll be in mid-June, we will have to get that done. You won't be able to view these courses anymore. You will not have admin rights to access the courses that were used in the 2020-21 school year. So just want you to be aware of that as well. Teachers and students will still have access because they're still enrolled in a concluded state, but enrolled in those courses. You, however, access courses as an admin because you have admin rights for your sub-account. We need to move the courses out of your sub-account so that you can see the next next learning events courses. So in this case, summer school courses, if you're going to be around for that. Um, then in the fall, we'll have to do that again for summer school, conclude those courses, move them to an archived state, and then add the fall's courses to your sub account. So would be a lot of moving parts this summer. The punchline is students and teachers will still be able to view content from their concluded courses. You will need to you won't be able to once we move them to the archive. Justin, you raised your hand.
Amy was raising her hand.
I physically raised mine. I just wanted to say, like, this happens every year. Like, that might sound more scary than normal, but that's like a thing that happens normally every summer. We're just having to do it twice.
It's been my process for 5 years now.
Yeah, we're just having to do it twice this summer because of the way summer school might work. So it's going to happen a little earlier than normal. So I wouldn't want like a Canvas admin to think, oh my God, that's different than normal. It's not. It's totally what happens every year. Yeah. Thank you, Justin, for raising your hand for me.
Well, he was focused. I wanted to make sure.
Sorry, I didn't see Amy.
No, you're fine.
Plus, it gave me an excuse to click the button to be funny. All right, so the next thing on the list is one that we're seeing a little bit more of, and a shout out to Sagan actually for helping us find this one. Students, the ability to log off all devices, and this is not necessarily just students, but it is all Canvas users. As Canvas admins, this is not something we can do for a user unless we're logged in as them. But what it does, and there should be an image, here it is. If you go into the approved integrations page on Canvas, and I'll go ahead and show my profile. And I believe it's settings. And where's it at? Ways to log in. There they are.
That's it. You just have a ton of them.
I don't know why I don't have the trash can on my own now. Interesting. Well, the image here, you know what it is? It's other devices.
Yeah, you're not signed into devices.
Yeah.
So this allows the user, if you click the trash can, to remove this device as an approved integration. So where we're seeing this is we've gotten tickets where someone say their account has been hacked, that their account is compromised and something is going on with the account, even though the student is not doing it. The student can go in, click the trash can, and remove all those other devices and kind of reset their logins for their Canvas account. This is something that also can be done in the Google admin console. So if you have Google admin rights, one of the tasks is to reset your sign-on cookies for all devices. And what that does is it signs you out everywhere. The way that I would easily kind of relate to this is think of Netflix. Netflix gives you the ability to sign off all your devices real quick. It's the same kind of concept here. So if you encounter someone where they have an issue where their account is compromised, the things that we've been recommending, because we've seen a few of them, is reset their Google password and their sign-in cookies, reset their NCED cloud password to something unique, and then have the student go in to their settings and remove these integrations to sign out everywhere. Anything you all want to add to that? Or
it's important to time this correctly. So if you're suspecting that one student's account has been compromised, aka hacked, anyway, it's been compromised. So another student knows how to use that student's password and log in as them. You need to make sure that the student is logged out of any device that they were logged into with the compromised credentials. So if you change a password for logging into Canvas or Google, it will not, or NCED Cloud or Google, it will not affect Canvas access for a user on an iOS or Android device. So change password, then remove these login credentials. Then you'll know that the user that was logging in as the student cannot log in because they'll need to enter the new password, which they won't know, and it will be unique because you understand password management requires a unique password for that user to be secure. So change password, reset sign-in cookies everywhere, and you're good.
and be ready to do this all at once and be in communication with the student whose account it belongs to as well, because they may notice an interruption in what they're able to do. So state, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do it, and then boom, 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 go. So
One thing I'll add to that is 99.9% of the time, this is related to a password security issue and
Yep.
really needs to be a password security conversation. So anytime I've ever run into this, this is another kid who has given their password to another kid or made their password so obvious that anybody could guess it. So it's a
Jake, I have
really
to run if you
important
can take
idea
over
to
sharing.
it's really important to have unique passwords for students for exactly this reason and teaching them password responsibility for exactly that reason.
Indeed. Indeed. All right, so I think we're on to questions because Justin had to run off. So looking at the code here, Tony, your question is saying we are addressing an issue about viewing student login logout times. We didn't really talk about that in Google, and you're saying as a G Suite admin, you can see the last time the student logged in the Google Admin Console. You just look up the user, and when you click on the user, you'll see underneath their name, their profile, you will see the last login time. So you can see that in Google from there as an admin. But for Canvas admin, you also look up the user, and then you will see their logins and the actual every page of Canvas that they went to is there in detail. So it's not just when they logged in, but it's also what pages they went to. So that's not sure what else you're looking for there, Tony, but just know Google admin, look up the user, Canvas admin, look up the user, and you can see the times that they accessed things. Much more detail in Canvas than in Google for that. And Michelle, she's saying, if we created a course to offer teacher PD or to have teachers access the course as a resource hub, will teachers be able to continue to interact with the content and with us during the summer months? So Michelle, it depends on a couple of things. First off, if you manually created the course and in your sub account, you clicked on create a course, and so it's in your sub account, but you created it. It wasn't created from PowerSchool. Then the course does not have to be concluded. It wouldn't automatically be concluded unless you picked a one of the school year's grading terms. So you think about the terms is an option you select when you create a course. If you chose the default term, it will never conclude on its own. But if you chose the year-long term starting sometime in August and ending on May 28th, if you chose that one, it will conclude on May 28th, just like all the others. So it depends on the term that you used for that course, whether or not it would go into a concluded state. So yeah, manually created courses, you have to choose the correct term to make sure of that. If you use our course creator to create the course, then the term is default. It never concludes on its own. You would have to set it to concluded to do that. So Michelle, I hope that helps answer the question. The punchline of it, though, if something goes wrong and you're unable to interact with the course, you can always put in a ticket. As long as you have the course URL and you put that in a ticket for us, we will know what's going on and we'll be able to fix that for you. So not much else to say with that. But we're going to stay on here. If you got other questions, please go to j.mp/itpd office hours.
I do have a bug that's being reported today that I can share out, Jake, if you would like.
Sure. What you
So
got?
you may get some users who are reporting that if they are giving a new quiz and they go to the moderate page, they cannot scroll down. I've had multiple people contact me in the last hour or so. I already have a ticket in with Canvas about it. They're working on it. Yeah, it's really weird. You go to like the moderate page on new quizzes and it looks fine, but you only see the top users and you physically can't scroll down. You can still search users though. So like my teacher who was having trouble with it, he wanted to know about a specific student. So he just typed the student's name in and that student came up and he was able to confirm he was working. I just talked to Kranish at Independence. And he was saying that you can also zoom really far out and you can then see them, although then you can't read it very well, but they are there. It's just the scrolling option's not working. So that does appear to be more widespread than my school, apparently. So just a heads up if you're getting teachers complaining about moderation in New Quiz, they're working on it. It's been escalated. I got escalated to a level 2 this morning already on it.
So, really? Okay.
Yep. So.
Oh, that's exciting.
Hot off the presses. Yeah. Fun New Quizzes problems. Yep.
So I don't want to remove Justin's presentation from the meeting because that might kick him out, won't it?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. My screen is
yours is the one that defaulted.
See that?
Yeah, to me. Yeah, so that's what we're seeing.
All right, so let me go into Canvas and let's say, going back to Michelle's question here, if you create a course from your sub account, you'll have to choose the enrollment term. If you choose any of these first three, the default is the one I'd recommend, then they won't conclude ever. They don't have an end date. The other ones do, right? The 16, 17, 15, 16 concluded courses, and then all of this year's course terms will end at some point. So you want to make sure that you are choosing a default term if you want users to continue to interact after this school year ends.
On the flip side of that, if you're creating a PD course that you want to conclude every year, so your teachers are not forever and always in that class, it's a good idea to select a term. So one of the things I hear teachers complain about is they move from school A to school B, and they'll say, I still have announcements showing up for my old school. Why? And then we look at it and we realize that's because the teacher is still enrolled in one of those courses that was set to never conclude, and they never concluded it manually. And so if it is a course that just is for that year, it is actually a good idea to let it conclude. Remember, they can still access the content inside that course under past enrollment. Right. So sometimes thinking that through is a good idea too.
And if teachers leave your school and you're managing a professional development course for just teachers at your school, you have to manage that because there's no synchronization with anything to enroll them in that course in the first place. So you got to keep that in mind and remove users and students as well. We have this situation where students will be enrolled in a course that the school's built just for the students, but those students get moved around. As they're moved, there's nothing removing them from the course at your school. So it's important to keep track of those. All right, Justin, looks like you're back.
Chaos as always.
Yep.
Kids and dogs. We made the mistake of them outnumbering us,
Yes, you did. The only thing that outnumbers us is our cats, and yeah, they're manageable.
Yeah, except when they jump out windows.
Well.
There is that.
So how about the pup has learned to jump on the bed now? Yeah, that's added a whole new level of chaos.
Yeah.
But thank you, Jake, for taking over.
Of course. Yeah, so I don't know if there was more on the slides. We just went into the questions.
No, there shouldn't have been. That should have been it.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Well, I think call it a day. Reminder, we will not be meeting next week. So you get day off there, a week off, spring break and all. We will post this month's questions for the quiz. Remember, if you complete all the quizzes by the end of May, we will give you credit for Canvas admin. So, but you got to finish them in order to get that.
Cool.
All right. Well,
Enjoy spring break, everyone. See you next month.